Okay, Jim, 2015 opening haunt weekend officially. For the 2015 season, we started out with House of Torment, a brand new one. What did you think?
House of Torment, yes, a brand new haunt for this year, and I think overall, I think it was a very satisfying experience. I think, you know, when you look at what makes a good haunt, I mean, I think you're looking at probably two primary factors. You know, A, are the set design well thought out, and B, are the actors really involved, engaged, and really in character. And I think from a set design standpoint, I thought it was top-notch, especially, again, for a first-year haunt. I think they really had their act together. You know, some of the highlights, I mean, were, you know, with each room, you know, I think some were borrowed from a previous year's haunts, but they also added some new touches as well. I think the Red Line train station, very elaborate. I think it was very well done. And, you know, some of the, like I say, commonality, the threads that tied each set piece together, again, very, very well thought out. And just when you thought part one was concluded, I would have been perfectly happy with the experience. You were led to a second part two, which really, I think, for the money made it very, very worthwhile. Again, very, very imaginative set pieces. On an acting standpoint, and I think this will just come with time. I can definitely see improvement here, but I think the actors, while, you know, certainly engaged, I think maybe a little better spacing possibly could have helped. It seemed to be stretched a little thin, so you had a character appear in one scene and then, you know, maybe one or two down the road reappeared. And then maybe in terms of varying the approach in terms of scare tactics might have helped as well. But if I were looking at the overall experience, I would say certainly from a set piece standpoint, 5 chainsaws. From an acting, probably 3, for an overall rating of 4. So again, very, very well done for an opening night haunt, though, I have to say.
Yeah, House of Torment, I wasn't quite sure what I was getting into, because it is a sister haunt to 13th Floor. And 13th Floor was not one of our favorites last year, to be honest. So House of Torment is in the former space occupied by Fear City, which was a really elaborate haunt that we went to last year. And so we were curious about how it was going to be. Turns out, set design-wise, outstanding. They kept the best of the sets from Fear City, including the CTA Red Line, which is a very elaborate set, almost as if you're actually walking onto a subway. It's that elaborate, it's that good. And several other sets that were remnants from Fear City rearranged. So we didn't go in the same area, we came out in different areas. But then they added a whole new school setting, an abandoned school sort of type of thing with very detailed sets, even in the background. There was a library, a very nice library where we had to go through the books, and there was an actor going in and out of the bookshelves and scaring us and things like that. And it was long, too. As Jim mentioned, we were in the first portion of the haunt for about 13 minutes, and when we were done, we thought, oh, that's it, and it was actually somewhat satisfying. It was rather satisfying, but then there was a whole other part. So altogether, about 23 minutes or so. It could be even longer depending on how slowly you walk, but that's a pretty good length of a haunt. Elaborate set designs, it was nice to just look at the different types of sets. I'm assuming that if they continue in this spot next year, they'll probably develop more of their own sets as opposed to sort of the half and half Fear City sets. But what they did work with was very creative. The other thing I'll say is the actors. Not that many actors in there. A lot of scenes had actors that would follow us from one scene to another. Maybe because they didn't have enough actors to fill in the different scenes, so at least they made up for that by going from scene to scene. But a lot of the actors did the same thing, sort of the jump out and startle, almost jump out and say boo type of thing to you, or a zombie type of action. Other than that, though, other than that lack of variation, most of the haunt was really quite good. So overall, for set design, I'm going to give it a 5. For the acting, I'm going to give it about a 3. So it's going to be a 4 for me. House of Torment. Go ahead.
That's all you're going to say is House of Torment?
I already introduced it with Jim. House of Torment.
Okay. House of Torment was great. First year for this haunt. Was looking forward to it. It was previously Fear City. I was very impressed. I really liked it. A lot of the same sets, which was a good thing. Actors were good. A lot of good things in there. I mean, I do recommend it.
Was there anything in particular that you liked set-wise?
Set-wise, they had a lot of good sets. They had the subway, the red line, and we had the train, which they had before. The one thing that was missing was the plane. They had when you boarded it with the pilots and that wasn't there. But still, even without that, it didn't matter because the acting was great, the sets were great, very detailed, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm going to give it, first year haunt, I'm going to give it 4.5 chainsaws. Because I know it's not quite at a 5 yet, but it's better than a 4. So it's right there. Great sets. I mean, they're off to a great start. Looking forward to what they have next year. I mean, I see them getting better and better to the point where they're going to be, fantastic. So I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. If you can get out there, go see it. It's well worth it.